Welcome back to the podcast, folks. This is another tech video, and I love doing the deeper dives into the underlying nuance of a token. I like to know everything about it, so I'm a big fan of white papers. I'm sort of a savant when it comes to which cryptos I invest in. I like to know everything about them. I'm not much of a crypto slot machine player, so if my money is going in, I want to make sure it's going in good. There's a persistent question that goes around on the more technical aspects of the Flexa network. And as we have already determined that Flexa is going after traditional pay rails as well as crypto payments, it's an excellent question, and I wanted to answer it. So what happens when there are fraudulent transactions on the Flexa network? It's not going to happen much with crypto spends. You have to have the crypto to spend it. These are not credit cards. Crypto spends are more like debit cards. But in traditional pay rails, fraud's going to happen. It absolutely is. So who's going to eat it? Who's going to eat it when the fraud occurs? Flexa's solution is brilliant. And their solution is precisely why they can process any transaction, not just crypto. We're getting into that one today. Please stand by. So here's an absolutely shocking number. Credit card fraud was approximately $30 billion last year. That's billion dollars last year. There were a couple different sources that I went to find that number, and they had different numbers, so I just split the difference. 30 billion. Now, normally I wouldn't care. Mine have been jacked before, but I was always, made whole, so no sweat. It's inconvenient, but you get over it. You get over it. But someone has to pay for this. The credit card companies are not just going to eat it. Much of it is recovered directly from the merchant. So sorry, be more careful next time, file a police report, etc. And if the merchant isn't eating it, the issuing bank is. So sorry, be more careful next time, file a police report, etc., etc. These are big numbers. And as an AMP stakeholder, it's about to become your problem when Flexa moves into traditional pay rails, which it sure as hell is going to do. This is not conjecture on my part. Tyler himself has danced around the fact that Flexa can process any type of payment, and most of the AMP community is excited for the opportunity. And they should be. They absolutely should be. That's where the real money is. Now, here's the concern I have with that. We AMP holders, stakeholders, we're the issuing bank now. You get that, right? Flexa is the issuing bank. AMP is the collateral for the purchase, and due to the nature of Flexa and how the transactions are collateralized and the merchant is made whole for the purchase, Flexa is effectively on the hook for the purchase. They take your money, your stake, they pay the merchant, and Flexa recovers the value on the back end. The protected class, the most protected class in this is the merchant. Once the receipt spits out of the register, they're done. Here's your money. Thanks for playing. Now it's your turn as the stakeholder to be made whole. And here's a word you need to be very familiar with if you're a stakeholder on Flexa. You ready? Hypothecation. This is very important in your world right now. Hypothecation occurs when an asset is pledged as collateral to secure a loan. The owner of the asset, that's you, that's me, we don't give up title. We don't give up possession. We don't give up ownership rights, such as, income generated by the asset, merchant fees. We don't give any of that up. However, this is a big however, the lender can seize the asset if the terms of the agreement are not met. So you agree to secure the transaction using your AMP. And that's exactly what you do by staking No illusions here. You are agreeing to pay the merchant come what may and recover your costs at a later date. For transactions that are on the up and up, no fraud, it's great. It's great. You are VIGing 0.5% of the transaction. You are collateralizing, making money for yourself, saving money for the merchant. Gotta love capitalism. But what about the fraud? For God's sake, Scott, get to it. You know, I'm there, man. I am there. Hypothecation occurs in the event of fraud. Your AMP, our AMP, is seized by the network to pay for the transaction. And I get that it seems muddy, as the AMP already existed on the network. So why would the network seize what it already owns? But the network doesn't own it. They don't own the AMP. You own it. By your staking, you don't give up ownership rights to the stake. It's your property to do with as you wish. But someone has to pay for this transaction value that cannot be recovered due to fraud. And this is finally getting to the point of the video. Did you like the background and painting the picture? This is actually my favorite part of making videos, is seeing how long people watch. It's pretty cool, huh? It's neat. It's neat. I also do blacksmithing as a hobby, and I can make spaghetti. Multi-talented. To it. The network seizes your collateral. Flexa seizes your money. Flexa is the processor, but you're the bank. But they have a mechanism in place to make you whole as well. You ready? It's beautiful. They take your AMP and they put it up for sale on the open market. It's like a bank seizing an asset that someone defaulted on and selling it. Hypothecation. So you will be made whole, but it is the open market that will make you whole. And I get it, man. Prices go up, prices go down. You might lose some here and gain some there. But that's the real beauty of the method. Over a long enough timeline, with standard market fluctuations, a parity is achieved. Sometimes it's sold at a slight loss, sometimes it's sold at a slight gain. Balance. When it is sold, the value of the sell is placed back onto the network and evenly distributed amongst the stakeholders. You get your money back. We're all in this together as stakers, sharing the risk by percentage of amount staked. And it is recovered and redistributed as a percentage of amount staked. No single person eats a percentage volume of the loss or is overly rewarded for the recovery. We all share it equally based on how much you have in there. Again, that's the beauty of the system. That is why it is ideally suited to combat fraud in the traditional pay rails. The merchant doesn't need it. But said merchant is still doing their due diligence when it comes to verifying transactions. They are the loan officers on your behalf. The bank doesn't need it because it has control over the collateral. There is no 6-month waiting period while papers are processed and courts get involved and fees and fees and fees. The network already holds the collateral. And in the event of fraud, they can put it up for sale on the market immediately. They will recover it. The merchant is made whole. The bank is made whole. It's a beautiful system. And it is a system that has never been adopted anywhere else on any traditional pay rail. So I hope that answers the question of what happens to my stake, your stake, our stake in the event of fraud. As Flexa continues to roll out into the traditional financial space, there will be more and more of it. There's going to be fraud. But I think they addressed it perfectly. I couldn't think of a better way, man. Your stake is safe, and that is another reason that Flexa is inevitable. Live stream on Thursdays at 7 Central. Cheers.